We'll be speaking about the evolving labeling landscape, talking about the end-to-end process, how the change drivers interact with the change implementers, and what it will take to get a seamless process in place. So this will be a familiar slide to all of you, the evolving labeling landscape, where all of us see in our day-to-day lives that the traditional business models are being pushed to a breaking point, caused either by portfolio growth due to mergers and acquisitions, or due to geographic expansion and greater number of markets to go to. Of course, there is the added complexity of an evolving, changing regulatory landscape with the amount of increased patient safety emphasis, and a label is a very visible part of that. So many of our regulatory findings are related to labeling in inspections. So there is an increased focus on now evaluating whether there is a benefit, what is the benefit risk, to making an update at all, or what it would take. So what would be the requirements for an innovative solution? Certainly we're looking at operational excellence, so whether it is operational efficiencies to help you manage the increased workload, or a swift decision making on whether there is a benefit risk, and timely, transparent communication with a clear focus on medical and safety outcomes. This here then is the end-to-end process, which, if you look at it, seems linear, and right from determining when a change is required to implementing that change, it seems to be a very straightforward linear process, from CDS updates to the local prescription and prescribing information updates to finally packaging and artwork creation and approval. So in practice, however, we all know that this is far from seamless and far from something that goes smoothly. There are a lot of gaps from the people who are driving this change to the people who need to implement them. And very often the two are not in connect with each other. The drivers do not understand the challenges faced by the local regulatory affairs folks, and there is a disconnect and a disjointed process created, whereby there's a delay in information being communicated, new relevant safety information being communicated onto a label and onto the patients, which is the very thing that we're trying to achieve. I know that the FDA is moving more towards newer processes. Perhaps electronic labels will be a thing of the future, but as of today, we really need to see how we can use operational excellence to kind of create a seamless process that prevents this breakdown, and that people are talking to, the relevant people are really talking to each other. So here then is something of a labeling chain where the focus is now on a central labeling, global labeling team, which interacts closely with the change drivers as well as the change implementers. So that could be one way of proposing that the folks at the global level ensure that there is adequate and transparent communication and understanding of the downstream activities and the downstream local country issues, and if they are having issues with the local authorities, if they are having issues with negotiation and getting approval of multiple updates, things like that get communicated upwards, and there is timely addressal of the issues. So what then would be the cornerstones of this new labeling model? It certainly seems to be people, processes, and technology. No new news there. I'm sure everybody recognizes this. So what I feel here is that there is a global talent pool that needs to be developed and created, which can allow you flexible resourcing solutions, because you can manage fluctuating workloads. You can ensure that you have people who are able to absorb increased or decreased workloads. And what is even more critical here, I feel, is that you need to look beyond the usual transactional mode of labeling and making sure that you're giving certain tasks outside to a more strategic relationship. So I could go back to a day when I had joined Pfizer in 2004, and one of the first things they showed us was a video of building the cathedral. So it's not important. It is of course important what you're doing as in making a labeling update or running a labeling meeting, but to be able to share with your partner a bigger picture, a vision of what you're trying to achieve and what your different objectives are. It's going to only help in shared accountability and making sure that people are with you and help you with achieving your goals, quality and compliance. So there is a need to be proactive in defining and implementing the new model to stay ahead of the market and stay ahead of regulatory trends. Towards this, besides getting the right kind of people, you need to have robust processes where there is a cross-functional integration and global alignments with very clear roles and responsibilities defined between the different departments. Who does what? There should be no dropping of the ball, so to speak, and there should be an ability to track the steps. I think Ellie mentioned version control, being able to see where something is at any point during the whole process. For globally, for whether it's the global label or a local label, if you're able to track where things are at, that's the first step. So having a robust process and an ability to track is key. And certainly towards this, technology can come to your aid in allowing seamless integration, allowing you workflow managers that allow version control, tracking mechanisms, and electronic storage of right from the trigger to the review process to approval. You'd be able to track the end-to-end process. So there would be process transparency in this case, as well as good key performance indicators that you can measure and report out on a periodic basis. So those were, a few of my takeaways. I hope I'm setting the stage here for the panel discussion. So developing great label content is king. You need to make sure that you have your benefit versus risk right, and you need to have evaluated that. There should be a harmonization of all labels from global to local labels. We all agree on that, and it's very important that you have good processes, performance and analytical, so that when the FDA walks in, you are able to tell them when you've learned of a signal, when you've submitted it for approval, and when it's been posted to a website or to a label. So end-to-end process integration alignment of up and downstream activities, KPIs, and technology enablers. So those were a few of the takeaways to set the stage for this expert panel Q&A.